Yeah. So can we compare Omani Dasha with a deep, dreamless sleep? Are they like equivalent or
No,
how do you?
Omani Dasa with full awareness. You got to keep this thing in the mind. In Jainism, awareness is the highest thing. Okay, can you compare in a sleep? If you know somebody, can you use that? No logic. Because what is sleep? Sleep is kind of a Omani Dasa. All right. The Jainism Omani Dasa, Bhagwan Mahavira, there is another example in Bhagwan Mahavir's life. Very, very simple. We all know Bhagwan Mahavir, at the age of 30, he took the Diksha. At the age of 42 and a half, he attained the Kevalgnan. Okay, that one is very clear. And we also know in this 12 and a half years period, he only ate one meal a day for 349 or 350 days out of 12 years. So for all practical purpose, every 12 and a half days, he ate one meal. That is correct, right? I mean, he ate only 350 days, one meal a day for 350 days, and remaining time, he did not eat. He did not eat. So fasting. Sometimes he fasted like 6 months, sometimes 5 months and 25 days, like Chandan Bala's case. Okay, sometimes 4 months, sometimes 3 months, 2 months, 1 month, and then sometimes just chat. That's the minimum. He's tapascharya. Except the first day was Diksha Day, though he had I think that was a chart also. So it's just a chart. Anyway, what I'm trying to tell you there, this is the second things I'm trying to explain you now. But do you know how long did he sleep in 12 and a half years? Can anybody guess? If Mahavira, did he sleep? And if he slept, how long did he? We know about his fasting. But do we know anything about the sleep? Anybody has any answer? Can you just write it down on this? No. Send the email, not email, whatever. No, we do. Okay.
So maybe no
Do you,
sleep. He didn't have any sleep. That's one of the answers.
yeah,
He
he
hardly
did not
slept.
have, no, he had some sleep.
Yeah, so he
It was
hardly slept.
only 48 minutes. That is practically nothing. Okay. In 12 and a half years, what was his effort to be fully aware? To be fully aware of every moment what he is living. And the entire 12 and a half years, person slept only 48 minutes. Now, you can think, how is it possible? But that what he tried, he did for 12 and a half years. Not to do tapascharya. Tapascharya happened. But for 12 and a half years, what he wanted to accomplish is aware about every moment. Not even in sleep, because he never slept. He never slept. I mean, okay. That is the most important things what we missed Everybody remembers his tapascharya, and we call it Mahavira was a great tapasvi. No, Mahavir was not a great tapasvi in a sense. Tapascharya happened. I'm not disputing that. Things happen versus you do. If I fast, taking a vow that I'm going to, in the morning, that I'm going to fast all day, all right, then I did tapascharya because I have taken a vow to do that. Bhagwan Mahavir never took a vow about, no, I'm going to do 2 days fasting today, no, starting today, or 4 months fasting, or I'm going to go and eat one meal. He did not do with that one. Tapascharya happened when he realized that body needs some nutrients. He went and got some food. And that is also a very healthy and nutrient food. He never ate. I mean, we do in Katha all kinds of stories. Bhagwan Mahavir ate a kheer. No, he did not eat any kheer or sweet food. You know why? Because that is not conducive to awareness. If you eat any sweet food, raswala padartha, okay, any oily stuff, what you will get you laziness. On the contrary, if you develop any kind of the awareness, okay, that will be gone by eating not conducive food. The conducive food for awareness is bland food completely. It's a bland food. But we create a story, and the story which is 80% kind of a mythology. No story is historical. That one. Characters are sometimes historical, but every story, it is a part of the history. Every sentence is in that story. It is impossible, particularly in the Jain literature and many other Buddhist literatures or Hindu literature. Okay, you will find out even in the Hindu literature, if you look at Ramayana, you know how many versions of the Ramayana exist? And I got about 6 or 7 different versions with me in the Hindu society, me being active in the Hindu society. All right. That, Lakshman was, Sita was the Lakshman's wife in one of the Ramayana says. Okay. In another Ramayana, no, Ram killed the Ravan while Lakshman killed the Ravan. That is our Jain Ramayana is telling us. Okay. All many different versions, if you will see it, that is how the thing in one of the South Indian Ramayana, Sita was Lakshman's wife. Now, whenever you go and look at it, all these different versions, then you said, well, whom should we believe? No, you don't believe anything. What is the purpose of writing this katha? That purpose is important, not the katha itself. Whether the katha is historical or not, that is not important at all. Okay? And most of the kathas are not even historical. But Kathakar created a katha to convey some points, some message, which is easy way of doing it. Through katha, you can easily convey the message. Okay, otherwise not. And that is the purpose of the katha. Anyway, what I'm trying to tell you with all these things, that when you read the stories, then don't believe 100% in the stories. Not even 100%. I would say don't even believe that 20% is truth in it. The answer is no. The characters are historical in some cases even non-historical. If you read Sripal and Mainasundari's, the whole story is a novel. It's a novel katha. They are not even, there is a historical character that King Sripal existed and Mainasundari. Okay, and Sursundari. It is the Acharya wrote the whole novel to give most importance to these Naupadoli. That particular. So that's why I am trying to tell you, okay, whenever you read katha or the stories or something like that, then you have to be very, very careful. See which one is properly believable, which one is not. Same thing when we tell the child, Santa Claus story about, okay? We all know while we are telling the children, okay, that these are all wrong stories. They are not the correct one. But still, every parent goes through with the tooth fairies and Santa Claus story. Why do they do it? Because at that age, it is needed. If a child is brought up without in the dreams of these Santa Claus story, and when the Santa Claus comes and brings all the gift and everything, in that age it is a necessity, it is absolutely needed kind of things. Okay, but do you ever have to tell the children the Santa Claus are wrong? They are not there. They are not a real things. No. That as they age, they grow out of it. And you don't have to tell them, they don't have to just tell them. That is the kind of the things are there in the religion. In the religion, you don't, once you become a mature in understanding, you don't need any of these stories to convince you for the religion one. So these are the things what you have to keep in mind. But reality, make sure whatever you believe, it is a logical. It is logical with some basic assumptions. Some basic assumptions, what I mean by that like philosophy of karma. It's the assumptions in one sense, okay? The whole karma philosophy is basic assumptions. But under the basic assumption, everything falls logical. That is a very key thing. I hope, because this is the most important and difficult topics to understand all these now tattva. But ultimately, what is nirjara, what is samvar, and what is ashra. Okay, these important things one has to really know. Then you are very clear in your mind, then nobody will flip-flop you from one place to another one, if your concept is very clear.